Come on in, folks. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Hello, hello. Come on in. Share with somebody. Share. Hi, Apostle Tanya. How you doing? I was trying to get you to come record us, but I know you probably got a little busy. Come on in. Share as you come in. Share with somebody. Share with somebody. Come on in. All right. I give everybody a few minutes to come on in. Come on in. Come on in. I mean, you could. You know you can. Come on. Hi, everybody. Go ahead as you're coming in. Swipe share. Share with somebody. We are really just waiting for people to come in. We're getting ready to get started. Got some questions and some things we're going to talk about. As you notice the title and what it says, a woman's reaction to a man's heart. Thank you, whoever you are, Jonathan. Thank you. What you say, cuteness? Thank you. Thank you. All right. I see you, Apostle Tanya. I heard what you said. All right. Once again, go ahead. Come in. Come in. We're giving you all a few minutes. I think I'll give you about 5 minutes to come on in. Swipe and share with somebody. Come on in. Hey, Willis. Come on in. Swipe and share with somebody. Come on in. Blessings. Come on in. Like I said, we're just giving everybody a few minutes to come on in, and then we're going to get started. Swipe share. Share this video with someone. Share with someone. Once again, come on in. Hey there, hey. I see you coming in. Go ahead. Swipe share with somebody. While you all are sharing, we just getting prepared. Come on in.
I'm James Krystal, and I'm the Director of Culinary.
Hey, Autumn. Long time no see. How you doing, Brandon? Come on in. Swipe share. Hit share. Hit the share button. Share with somebody. Actually, while you all are doing that, I'll start sharing with a couple of my friends too as we get ready. You good?
Sometimes we get stuck on our own.
Uh-huh. That's good. Come on in. Come on in. Hi, Shalon. How you doing? Hey, Misha. How you doing, love? Jessica. Tiffany. Come on in. Hey. Hey, hey, come on in. Like I said, we getting ready to start. Just swipe and share with somebody as we come in. As you come on in, and we're getting ready to start. Come on in. So, ladies, this is something that we really long to hear and we really like to talk about. So this is one of the things we really need to discuss, because many times we think we know what's going on and we really don't know what's going on. We really don't know what is happening on a man's heart. We don't really know what they're thinking and how they're thinking. And so these type of discussions are discussions that we really need to hear, because we need to hear a male's perspective and what they're thinking and how they're thinking, so that we'll know, the next step, what we need to do, how we need to react, because sometimes we are overreacting. Sometimes we are taking things in our own hands and we are doing what we think we should do in order to go forward. Or sometimes we're overthinking things, or sometimes we are moving out of emotion, or sometimes, I heard you, Granny. Or sometimes we are moving by or reacting because of the way we reacted in a previous relationship, and so we brought that over to the relationship that we're in, or we have gotten these stigmas and placed them upon some of these men, and we don't do, or react in the way that we maybe need to. And then it also plays a part with us. Some of us, we're broken, or some of us, we are jumping from relationship to relationship, not actually being healed from the previous relationship. So this discussion is about to get really deep. I hope you're ready, because we're getting ready to go in. So like I said, if you just chimed in, go ahead and swipe share. So somebody on your wall that may need that understanding of a man's heart. Hi, Allison. Hi, Shalon. I heard you. Somebody that need that understanding may be a part. So, hey, the only thing I could say is, while you're on this live, take notes. Take notes in your marriage. Take notes for your relationship. Take notes, maybe if you're just starting to court. Take notes, because sometimes we can be a handful. And I know that, because listen, my husband better be ready, because I know I can be a handful at times. And it's not that I choose to be, just some things that we have encountered, some things that we have experienced. It actually plays a part in our everyday life. And sometimes we don't even know that we're reacting in certain ways to certain things, or we don't know that it triggers certain behaviors, but that plays a part in both roles, for male and female. So it don't only play a part just for women. It also, plays a major role for men. So with that being said, I am going to ask Mr. Curtis Sweet to join me. All right.
There we go.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. All right. All right, ladies. So here's Mr. Sweet. So Mr. Sweet, let me give you a little bit about who Mr. Sweet is. And I'm going to hand the camera over, because I was trying to do this by myself.
Turn it before you turn it on.
Oh, hold on. Let me turn the camera around.
No, not put her on camera.
Don't put me on camera. Turn it around and then turn the camera.
So it can be the wide view.
Oh, like,
They ain't gonna do it on the phone. I don't think.
no, it's not.
No, but I mean,
But we want to see what's going on. Look, we might want.
you're not gonna be able to see that.
Okay, I guess not. Okay, I got you.
But he can log into the live and you can see.
Oh, I could do it from right here.
Thank you.
I got you.
You can see the questions.
Okay.
Yes.
So there we go. So we actually are going to be, and I don't know if that's in your way.
I got you.
Can everybody hear us? If you can hear us, just say yes, we can hear you. I want to make sure everybody can hear us. Can you hear us? Let us know.
Well, if they can hear you, I know they
I just hope this doesn't interfere with us. Oh, that was my granny. I don't want to hit it and then it actually makes the noise. You know how
Turn the
you do this
volume
stuff?
down.
Okay.
You
But
can
will
turn-
it give feedback in there? even
If you
with the
turn
volume?
the speaker off, it won't.
Okay, I got you.
And they can hear you.
All right, good. So everybody can hear us. So we're just checking because we want to make sure that if you ask any questions, that we can actually go hand in hand and kind of answer those questions that you're asking. So I'm gonna start because I want to dig in, and I got a lot of questions. But first, I am going to introduce Mr. Curtis Sweet to you all. He is a strategist speaker. Check me if I get it wrong. He speaks on empowerment. He speaks on different things with the view of a male perspective. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the Mars versus Venus.
eavesdrop, actually.
Eavesdrop. There it is. Eavesdrop. He's actually one of the speakers that's a part of the Eavesdrop, and he's been a part for how many?
This is my second season.
Okay, so this is his second season, and they're actually going to be doing is Eavesdrop, HEAVES,
Yeah.
drop, DROP, and so he's actually been a part of that panel for, like he said, two seasons. And so with that being said, they're actually going
One
to
answer
be
to.
doing this one.
For him, your name, Curtis, Turtis.
Yeah,
Yes.
one has.
Okay, sweet. He's dropped.
So
Got it.
they actually have a show tomorrow
Yeah,
night
tomorrow night.
at 7:30.
Yes.
I'll be there, ladies. I was going because I wanted to hear some of this stuff that was going on the panel, and I wanted to hear, some things that we probably need to listen to, because sometimes we can be like one-sided on views, and we don't want to always have that one view. We want to be able to, interact. We want to know what we're doing wrong, especially if we're doing something wrong anyway. With that being said, so Mr. Curtis Sweet,
Got used to it.
listen, I'm ready, right?
Hey, I'm sure. I'm
okay,
sure.
okay. So, when it comes to a male's heart, when a woman is actually, how can I ask this? Let me get my questions together. I am ready. I just want to say it the correct way so I don't say it. Anyways, how do you know a woman if her mate is actually, I guess, falling out of love with her?
Ooh. Okay, so let me start off by saying that I am one male, and every male, I'm sure, has his own reason and logic behind the things that he does.
Right.
So, that is a very difficult question to answer.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, well, let me bring it back.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start right here. When a man or when a male is dating a woman, how does she know if she's coming on too strong? From your perspective.
If she's coming on too strong, I think that depends on what she's coming on too strong about.
Okay.
Um,
Give me a few examples. Like, have you ever encountered a woman that has ever come on too strong?
well, in terms of forcing a relationship, yes.
Right. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Give us some.
Well, developing a relationship should be a natural process. But sometimes, because we are in a place that we feel that we're ready and this is what we want to avoid the process. We just want to jump right in.
That's good.
Lots of times, especially if we are physically attracted to the person,
Yeah.
that usually overshadows everything else.
Wow.
When we look at this person and all you see is, oh man, that's my flavor right there.
Right.
Come
Come on. It's good.
it happens to all of us. But, reality of it is, you can miss a lot of red flags, if you will, if you are, too happy. A lot of the time it's not even emotional, it's physically driven. Maybe those hormones move a little bit, the body talk when he comes around,
Come
and
on.
you don't want to just jump right in, being fleshly.
You're right.
So you want to force a relationship.
Listen, we need you to give us the real deal because it's and I'm sure everybody that's listening, you're at least 21 and over. And I am a pastor, but I want to dig deep because I want you guys to understand some of the things that we do and we make mistakes on, some of the things that we do and we try to push the process, some of the things that we do and we don't allow ourselves to really court, to get to know someone. We don't really step back and, really learn that person. We actually just rush it like, okay, I'm living for today and I will not live to see tomorrow. So I need to hurry up and get this thing going. So I want to talk about how, okay, let me ask you a question about maybe some of the experiences you have had when it comes to women that have I want to say that in a better way because the way I'm thinking in my mind it may come off wrong. Okay, so women that have gotten into a place where where you have women that automatically say, okay, I think you're who God sent. So right away they just jump off and jump into something right away.
What are they basing that off of? I mean, what did God tell them?
I don't know. I'm just throwing a question.
I mean, well,
Okay.
I will say that, sometimes there's a fine line between what God sent and what we want.
Right. Come on.
So sometimes, again, because it's what we want, anything that seems to be in alignment with what we desire, we're going to say, oh, well, thank you, God, you heard my prayer.
Right. Come on.
But you don't know what else comes with that.
Right. I like that. It's a question.
It's a question because I posted for the people to be, this is interactive and for them to drop their questions. And no one has dropped a question yet, but I just want to piggyback off of back to the question of women coming on too strong. I have a friend, she's a mutual friend of ours, and she was told by a couple of guys that she doesn't come on strong enough.
Come on.
And I think this is a good question because I believe some men not necessarily want you to be pursuing them, but they want you to show some interest.
Understood.
And she felt like, well, if I show you interest, I shouldn't have to what she doesn't understand. What is it that he was wanting her to cater to? And when she asked him, he couldn't give her what it was. And I think it was because of her mannerisms are stern, so she's very, in a sense, kind of standoffish. But if I'm talking to you and if you're a person that get to know her, if I'm interacting with you, I'm interested in you.
Right.
But he didn't allow her that chance. So what do you think was the issue? And what is it that some men who are not even bold enough to say that to a woman, that I don't feel like you're showing me enough interest?
I would have to think that it was something maybe that he was doing, and maybe she wasn't reciprocating those thoughts, those actions. I mean, she might have been making herself available to him, but if she wasn't saying, for instance, if he's the one doing all the calling, if he doesn't call, they don't talk that day, then that's probably going to translate to a man as a lack of interest. Yeah, this is a very tough because you have some men who, unfortunately, they are physically attracted to lots of women. They are the type, and they're used to women running behind them and putting up with their BS.
That's kind of what I thought it was. But also I thought, because I know her and I know her demeanor, that you're kind of like have one word answers sometimes.
Right.
You don't go into detail per se sometimes into things that are being asked of you.
Well, that is one point, especially if they're communicating via text message.
Yeah.
And I'm asking you, how was your day? You tell me fine or good. Okay, well, does this person feel like talking? But to that point, I mean, if he is, very interested, I'm learning. Text is my preferred style of communication. But I also learned over a period of time that things tend to get a little bit hairy through a text, and sometimes there leaves lots of room for miscommunication.
Right.
So at those points that I may not understand where she's coming from, or I may just not be certain, I would just pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I'm not certain what you mean.
Right. And I
Right.
think that's a very good thing, because we found that texting is the most non-communicative way of communication that we are now using, because it has no emotion or anything tied to it. And like you said, the person's perception of what you text, perception of what you text can now be misconstrued if you don't call and follow up with.
Especially if you just knew getting to know each other.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback off what she said, because when it comes to text messaging, so many people have this miscommunication, or they don't have interactive skills. So you get where you'll have one person that may be texting long messages, but then you'll have another person texting short, because they don't really know how to maybe respond to a text message. How you said you would respond by either picking up the phone and calling them, but what if you're a woman that's been in relationships where they've, let's say for instance, gotten irritated by talking too much or too long, and so you kind of feel like, let me step back, maybe I'm calling or texting them too much, maybe I need to kind of step back.
Okay, well, that depends on the individuals involved. It's never a good idea to. So the lessons that we learned in previous relationships, we have to understand that those lessons are for us.
Right.
And it's for us to make certain adjustments before entering the next one.
Right.
So if you can't take the reaction that you got from the man in the previous relationship
Right.
and automatically assume that this man is going to react that way, and if he does react that way, then it means the same thing.
Right.
Because it may not.
Mm-hmm.
So communication is between the two people that are involved, and the more you get to know about each other, you learn their body language, their personality types, their mood swings, and things like that. Then it makes for easy time to communicate.
Right.
You guys have a question.
All right.
The question is from Cherubim Williams. She wants to know, how do you separate showing interest and being the initiator?
That's good.
By
That's
being
real good.
available.
Okay.
Now, depending on if you got a shy guy, then you may need to push just a little bit. But at the same time, you look for his reciprocation of interest. I mean, if you're always running behind him, then there's a great chance that it's probably nothing there. But if he is reciprocating the actions that you take, until he's maybe comfortable enough, and sometimes it's just as simple as a conversation. Letting him know that, hey, listen, I'm cool with you, taking some initiative, and don't beat him up about it. Don't challenge his position immediately. Just let him know that it's okay if he does certain things. Give him an opportunity to adjust to that, to conform to whatever your wishes are.
Right. Good.
I have another question. Because this is about really a man's perspective. We women, so we understand women.
Right.
So I'm gonna pick your brain, because
Let's go.
I want to know. Even though I'm married, I want to know. And my thing is, how do we understand not necessarily what we've been through, but what maybe you've been through as a male, to help us to deal with not hitting those areas that you may have been wounded in before, and what are some of the signs that you are showing us when this happens?
Oh man, that's a really good
That's
question.
a really good question.
That's a really
I like
good
that.
question. So to start, it always goes back to communication. It's always a good idea, maybe not to push too hard. Maybe some areas are very sensitive people, and they may not want to openly discuss right away certain things from their past and childhood or what may have you. But you do want to recognize those triggers. Now, if it is a marriage or a committed relationship that is leading to marriage, it's not a good idea to tiptoe around those triggers either.
Right.
Right.
The thing is knowing that you have to get to the root of that. Knowing that, okay, so sometimes, and one of the signs is an overreaction, and he's like, well, man, I only said this, I only did that, and he blew all the way up. Well, yes, your action and your words might have triggered, but that's not the root cause of it. So sometimes there is a level of healing that needs to go on within the individual. And these things happen obviously on both sides of the spectrum, but there's some healing that needs to go on in that individual. Now, again, having your mate being comfortable with speaking to you, meaning that when they do share things with you, when you get mad at them, you don't throw it up in their face. You know, lots of people do that. Oh, well, that's why your mama did this, and that, and the other, because you this, and that. He probably never communicate with you in that way again.
Right.
He will completely shut down, and God knows whatever else.
I got a question for you. When it comes to those triggers, how would a woman know that she's triggering that in her mate?
Basically his reactions, but if you don't know him well enough to know that that is coming from somewhere else, it's not necessarily you. See, lots of times when people react to us in certain ways, we take those things personally.
That's good.
Yeah, so we automatically assume, well, what's wrong with me?
Right.
And it may not really be anything wrong with you per se.
Right.
You know, and again, and it's not always a thing from childhood. Maybe you just had a bad day at work.
Right.
You know, and as soon as I got home, you jumped all over me with your honeydew list.
Right.
You asked me how my day was. You give me an opportunity to unwind. Yeah, you know, well, maybe you want a beer, here's some tea, here's a glass of water, nothing.
That's true. That's true.
You know,
You just jumped on my neck.
right? You just jumped right on me as soon as I came in.
That's good. That's good.
What about those women that are having issues with communicating with their mate? Let's say, for instance, you've been married 5 years, or you've been dating for a few months, or you've been dating and you don't really know. You kind of like, wow, I may have overstepped my boundary here, but let me kind of step back because I don't want to. You just want to make sure that you're communicating well and you're not shutting down as well.
Understanding their communication style
Right.
is important.
That's good. That's good.
Because what you're saying makes sense to you,
Right.
but it may not translate in the best possible way to them.
That's good.
So although well, I'm speaking plain English. I said this, and that,
Right.
but that's not the way they're receiving it. So being able to understand how to effectively communicate with them,
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned through some skill training and things like that, the best way to effectively communicate is to ask questions.
Right. That's good.
To ask questions.
Okay. Has there ever been any
Dancing in the
I
dark
guess maybe you could say that.
with you between my arms,
Bring it down.
barefoot on the
But
grass.
can you say that there's ever been any questions that you've been asked maybe in the dating process that could have maybe made you want to get up and run?
Depends on how early in the dating process.
Okay.
You know, we live in a society now where men are really sensitive about money.
Okay.
You know, lots of women are still, of the mindset that a man should do this and a man should do that.
Let's
Right.
talk about it.
And lots of men are locked into that mindset. So if we're out on our 4th or 5th date, we still getting to know each other. You ask me how much I make. Yeah, I might look at you a little funny.
Right.
Like, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that level for you to be all of my.
Right. That's right. All in my bank account. That's good. So I got another question. Hold on.
Too early. Have you been tested?
Right.
What?
Right.
I mean, yes, there was unnecessary questions, but timing is the most important, and you kind of got to feel your way through those things.
Right. That's good. Okay. What about I'll let you ask your question because it kind of just slipped my mind. But wait. What about when it comes to like, and now I'm talking about dating individuals now. When it comes to like really because some people when they get into relationships, I think they fear telling the truth about certain things in advance because they don't know how someone may look at them. But that just may be the thing that makes them want you more. How do you think that a woman coming on, talking to a man could actually get him to really speak his truth as he's speaking to her?
It depends on what his intentions with her is.
I like that.
That's good.
Yeah, it depends on what his intentions are. If his intention is to actually, build something to move forward with this woman, then yeah, he's going to be as truthful as possible.
Right.
I mean, if he has a separate agenda, then, you know, if him answering that question truthfully is going to sabotage his agenda, then obviously he won't.
That's good. That's good. Go ahead, Apostle. You wanted to ask something. And then I'll go back.
I did, and I lost the thought.
Okay, but that's all right. So let's say, for instance, you have a husband and a wife, because I've had friends that have experienced this, where they would find out that their mate is later on stepping out, but they don't know. They've been, let's say, married 15, 16 years and don't know what the issue would have, what would have triggered them stepping out.
Okay. So I'll say this. Let's look at relationship and what a relationship actually is at that point. So a relationship is two people growing together as one.
Right.
Okay? So at the point that there's one person growing and the other person is stagnant, there is no relationship.
Wow.
Now we are cohabitants. We roommates, we friends. You know, we might love each other, we may have sex or whatever, but if there is no common ground or platform that we both rise at the same time, then there's a disconnect someplace.
Right.
And in that case, when people feel disconnected, they feel unwanted or unloved, or things aren't quite the same, in which it shouldn't be the same. It should be better.
Come on.
You know, it should be evolving, but it should be happening at the same. You should be growing together.
And I have another question to pick.
You got a question, though.
Because we're talking about. Okay, give me just a second. Because we're talking about evolving, and I think this is where men and women kind of meet a middle ground, but they don't. And I'm going to say something to the ladies too that are watching, because this is really key to even growth in your relationship. A lot of women have come to a point where they feel like, because I've been married to you, I don't need to grow anywhere. And so I feel like, and I'm not asking a question yet, I'm actually just speaking on behalf of the women's point of view for us for a minute, because I think sometimes we mix up evolving, whether it's in a marriage, whether it's in a relationship, whatever it is, that we get so comfortable because we are with this person that we don't think we have to grow with them. And so we get to a point where we're like, oh, well, we come home and we do the same thing every day and nobody's growing. There's nobody that's studying, nobody that's ready to go to a new level. So that thing gets boring and you don't have growth. So how can you keep growing with your mate? He wants to go to New York or travel the world, and you still want to just be at this 9-to-5 job that is not going anywhere. Do you think for that mate that will be a deal breaker for them?
It depends. I've seen some situations where yes, it was a deal breaker, but I've also seen situations where the person, they stuck it out.
Right.
However, in many cases, that's to their own detriment.
Right.
Because there has to be a cap somewhere. Because if we're not growing together, we're growing apart.
Come on, that's good.
So if I am continuously striving to be at my best and to maximize my potential, and you're comfortable with where you are, well, you know, there is definitely going to be a disconnect between us.
Right.
I'm growing and evolving. I'm networking. I'm meeting new people. I'm soaring to new heights.
Right.
And to some degree, if she is. Now, let me say this, though, because she can still be an active participant in that growth and development.
That's good.
So if there's an event that he needs to go to, a specific meetings, and he decides to take her along with her, and she decides to go, and, you know, she's open, she's cordial, eventually some of that dust might sprinkle on her, and she might decide to do something else as well.
Right.
But at the point where it comes, well, oh, I'm tired, you go ahead, and those types of things, you probably asking for trouble.
All right.
Can I ask a question? Then you guys have a question. But just with that situation, how if the mate that you're with, even though you may be the outgoing one, because we do know opposites attract, and your mate is an introvert, but she's not downplaying what you're doing. She's supporting you and she's praying for you and she's she's dressing you and she's preparing you to go out, and she may even show up, but because she's an introvert or he's an introvert, they're not the one that's actually speaking. Do you feel that is going to cause a disconnect, or is that going to cause some insecurity in the relationship on the part? Because I've seen and I've been a part of a relationship where there was insecurity because of that, because the one person was an introvert and the other person was sociable.
Yeah, sometimes those interactions can cause some insecurity in the other, especially if they see the way that people look at you, the way they gravitate towards you. Sometimes, that fear of, wow, he's getting all this attention now, she's getting all this attention now, where would that leave me?
Right.
And yeah, it's one of those things and that's why you have to be actively engaged in your relationship.
Right.
The root word of relationship is relate.
Right.
So you need to be relating to something.
Amen. Okay, your question is for Gan from Cherubin Williams. She wants to know how long is not long enough to be considered monogamously dating.
Oh man. Again, I think that would be different for everyone. But I would venture to say that what it depends on the point that they meet in their lives. Because one person may be ready. And you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and get married. We love each other. Let's do it. But this other person may decide that, you know what, man, I want to finish this degree. I want to build this business. And the reality of it is you can't, as much as people seem to think that they can, unless you're doing it together, it is virtually impossible to do both at the same time. Because the thing is, what you're into the most is going to consume you. It is going to consume you. So either you are going to compromise the business or you're going to compromise the relationship.
That's good.
So you have to make a choice. Most people choose the relationship, and then that's when you get that shoulda, coulda, woulda, 50. Hey, 10 years ago, man, when I wanted to do this, had you supported me, I would have been doing this.
That's true.
And God forbid that relationship is starting to fail. All of those things that they sacrificed for the sake of the relationship, hoping that it would grow, man, you're gonna have to wear that.
Yeah.
And it can be a tough deal. I think it is a very good idea to know where each other is headed. I think relationships are for two whole individuals.
That's good.
So if you have one individual who hasn't quite figured out life and where they're going, and another person who has, they're going to be conflict. They're going to be conflict. Because what happens is the person who hasn't quite figured it out, because they don't have it figured out, they feel compelled to gravitate to whatever this person's idea of how they want to live their life is. And they start to lose themselves. To only 5 years pass by and their own growth and development starts to develop, and they realize, you know what? I don't want to do this.
Right.
This is not who I am at all.
That's good, ladies. I like that he said that we begin to lose ourselves in relationships, because that is exactly what happens when we are caught up in different, relationship scenarios. We begin to lose ourselves and we begin to get caught up in that person's vision. So let's just say, for instance, when you get into that relationship or the courting process, or, whether you understood that maybe you two are about to get married, there are some discussions that we don't have that we should have.
Absolutely.
And that's why some people end up having to go through marital counseling. Not saying marital counseling is not good. No, marital counseling is good before you get married and even in the midst of marriage. But why, if you can already get it out the way in the beginning of marriage to make sure that you both are on the same page? Should we not do that in the beginning? And I know some people don't agree with marital counseling. Let me ask you your outlook on that.
Oh, I personally, I don't see any issues with counseling of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
You figure some of the greatest people in the world, even mentors, have mentors.
Right, that's good.
You don't know everything, and there's always somebody at another level beyond where you are.
Right.
And you can always use that knowledge and information as you continue to ascend as a person in a relationship or whatever. One thing that I did want to mention was that, remember how we talked about those disconnects?
Right.
Having that conversation is a great way to avoid those.
Right.
I mean, it's not a sure for all. Sure, nothing is sure. We
Right.
never really know what the outcome is going to be.
Right.
But with the right intention,
Right.
with us, being active and working towards a common goal,
Right.
that gives us the ability to stay connected, to grow and evolve in a certain way to where we got accomplishments.
Right.
I remember my question, and it was back to the timeline of dating, because I think when you guys was talking in the beginning about when is the right time to say this, to ask these questions. And I'm a person that I don't believe in wasting time.
Right.
Most people in society now don't really have time to waste. But when is the right time to say, are we just dating to be chilling, hanging out, or you my partner that I come and chill out with, whatever it is, save the unsaved. So we're gonna, since Pastor Jordan said, we keeping it real.
Right.
Some people on here that's watching are gonna watch, they got a sex buddy.
Right.
So are you just my sex buddy, or you the person that I call when I'm going through something, and you that person to me, or are you a person that's looking for the same thing? When is it that I'm saying that I'm not dating just to hang out? I'm not dating just to find a sex buddy, but I'm dating because I'm now ready to move my life into another dimension, as into mutual. See, we get the word monogamous mixed up. We need to understand, are we in a mutual monogamous relationship? And as a woman who deal with people that are infected with sexually transmitted diseases and HIV, that's a question that we tell everyone, infected, affected, not infected.
Come on, that's good.
Are you in a mutual monogamous relationship? But that needs to be in every aspect of the relationship. Are we mutual? Because that was something that you said. We need to make sure we're mutual. Yeah. So are we mutual and monogamous, not only in our sex, but in our outlook on life?
That's good.
Right.
Are we going in the same direction?
I think the minute the actions of each other start to conflict with where you're going, you need to start having a conversation.
Okay.
And either, okay, well, this contradicts with who I am as a person. Yes, I do like you, but you want me to do things that go against my principles.
There you go.
All right. So, both parties have to be firm on their principles. You have to know what your principles are, and you have to stand firm with those. And the minute there starts to be conflict with your principles, then you need to find out, okay, what are we doing here? Now, just because because his intention could be to be married, to be in a committed monogamous relationship, maybe just not with you.
And that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Maybe there are certain things that he's looking for. And sometimes because we don't openly communicate about all of those truths, we just kind of sit back and wait and see if this person is going to, do that. Do those things. I don't know that that's always the best way. I do have the mindset that you have to give people room to be who they are.
Right.
Because the things that you require from them in a relationship means you want them to be consistent with doing those things.
Right.
And if they conform to your idea early on in a relationship solely to impress you or to gain your attention, well, see me in 8 months when this person's gotten comfortable. All of those things that they once did, you know how it is, man. You sent your representative here. You showed me this, this, and that, and now you don't do any of that.
Right.
Was because it wasn't authentic to who they were.
Right.
I like that.
So sometimes, we have to be careful about being too forward about what it is we want, because that's how you open up the door to be manipulated by that very thing.
Speaking of doors,
that's good.
You got Cherubim said she was told to ask at the door, to always get it up front and from the start. And to add to that question or to that statement, what you just said, the representative. I had a man to tell me that our representative comes first. We know we sometimes as men represent who we think you want us to be. Right. But check me 30 to 90 days down the road, 180 days down the road.
Correct.
Who I really am is gonna start showing up. But I am who you want me to be based on what, as women, he said, we women sometimes tells you guys who have the wrong intention way too much early on. Right. And we let you know way too much about us to let you know how to get in and be what our idealistic mate is.
Right. That happens all the time.
When that may not even be.
So can you elaborate? Because I think that's part of what she's saying, being upfront and asking questions at the door. But when we asking questions, we sometimes feel like we need to give information.
Right. And again, hey, ask questions. And when you ask a question, you receive information. You know, if they don't ask the same question in return, I mean,
I done gave too much information.
hey, not only that, you know, there may be that lack of interest.
Right.
Typically, you know, if you speak to a person and if you ask a person, put it like this, some things are very simple before you even get to having to ask the question. If you pick up the phone and you call the person, hey, I just got off from work, how was your day? And they tell you how their day was and they don't ask you in return,
They don't care.
you might want to take a look at that. You might want to, I mean, that seems petty, but think about that over the long term.
Yeah.
Because
Really care.
initially, when you first meet a person, man, everybody's all in.
Right.
Especially for a man, it's about the hunt, it's the thrill, you know what, boy, it's new. So I'm trying to cross all of my T's and dot my I's. So he's not thoughtful enough to even return the favor of, well, how was your day? You might want to think about that.
And I like that because we might look at, some people look at that as that's really minute, that this person always call and ask you how your day is, you know, and why he always calling me, asking me how my day is. Well, that means that he's kind of concerned about your day. And it's just like, I remember my grandfather told me when I was growing up, if a man opens the door for you, he said, what shows the man that you have the same concern about him is that you reach over from the inside and open the door for him. He says, a lot of women are going to tell you that's wrong. He said, but for a lot of men, it make them think, wow, she's just as concerned about me as I am about her.
That's good.
That is something valid. Lots of times, you know, unfortunately, the society that we live in, that our women are reared in, you know, they're taught that they're the prize. It's all about them. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with you being the prize, but just make sure when I open up that box, there's something in it.
There you go.
Come on, that's good. That's good.
You know, there's lots of women who think that they deserve certain things solely because they're women. And, you know, she has a responsibility to the relationship as well and to that man. And it's different for every person. I will say, you know, because a man, who you are as a person should naturally show. It should not be based upon the way this person treats you.
Right.
If you be who you are, no matter what, that's male and female.
Right.
Now, if you decide that this person doesn't deserve or is not worthy of what you are offering, then it's simple as moving on.
That's it.
All the trying to convince them, you know, that potential, potential is very dangerous if it's not active.
That's good.
If a person is not saying to you, hey, listen, I'm looking to be better. I'm striving to be better. I'm looking for ways to improve who I am as a man or as a woman. So if you see anything, if they're not actively asking you for those things, man, what you see is what you see.
Huh? Come on.
You know what I mean?
Good.
So just because, put it this way, you can see all the best in the person. If they don't see it in themselves, it's not there.
Wow.
That's good. That's good. That's really good.
Can you repeat that? Potential? You said something about potential.
I said you can see all the potential in the world in the person. You can look at them and have a conversation with them and say, you know what, this person's really intelligent, they're bright. Maybe if they had this, they would do this. Well, if they don't see themselves in that same light, it'll all be wasted. That potential doesn't exist. That's just what you see. That's your perception of them.
Right. That's good, because that goes into one of the questions that I probably should have asked you earlier, and that goes with how women come at a man and you pretty much look at him for his potential, but never really look at him for who he really is.
Okay, so there's a fine line with that, because if you meet a brother who may not have it all together at this point in time, but again, he is active. He works hard every day. He's in school trying to do some things. You know, he's working on the business. He's actively engaged in those things.
Right.
Then you may say, okay, well, you know what? This might be something I can latch on to and find ways to actively engage in his endeavors.
Right.
You know, I've seen situations where, you know, brothers, they trying to do their thing, and the woman is more concerned about going to the movies or out to eat than she is helping them, man, let me help you manage these books.
Right.
Let me learn how to do some of this paperwork. Let me take some of these phone calls.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
She's more concerned with being wined and dined and miss the whole ship.
Wow.
And then, you know, a few years go by, his business is booming. Now he has the time to wine and dine.
Right.
She mad because he's doing it for somebody else.
Yes. That's good. That's good. that kind of goes into the next question I have.
Dancing in the dark
And we're going to end up
with you.
in a few minutes, but that goes into the next question in regards to how you get these women that are caught up in your financial aspect that just only solely have gotten into a relationship because they see that you can do what you can for them.
Right. So, as it pertains to finances, I mean, it's always the elephant in the room. I mean, we're not going to sugarcoat anything. Finances are important.
Dancing
We're not
in the dark,
minimizing, the need for finances.
you between
But what I will say as it pertains to a relationship is what you've accomplished before entering that relationship, what I might accomplish before entering a relationship, doesn't matter.
Right.
What matters is what this union produces together.
Come on.
So you can be uber successful alone. I can be uber successful alone. But if together we can't make anything happen, we fail as a couple.
That's it. That's good.
So, it's all about the mindset going in. I might make $70 to $80,000 a year. You might only make $30,000, but together we got $110,000. We can make a move.
So what do you, when it comes to people that are coming in relationships that have that mindset, that feel like, you know what, I'm making this and he's making this. Maybe, especially nowadays, you have many women that are now starting to excel in their level of business, whatever it is that they do. They're starting to excel. So what is it that you can tell that woman that may see her mate, but he may be making less than she is, or he may be actually just climbing out of whatever situation it is that he's getting out of.
It goes back to this simple question. What is the purpose for our union?
Right. That's good.
What is the purpose? And we're both contributing parts to that union. Right. And it may not always be money. Right. You may make more money, but you don't know how to manage it well.
Right.
He does.
Come on.
You may not know anything about investing. He does.
Right.
So it's all about what you can do and produce together.
Right.
So the individual mindsets. Well, I bring this to the table. See, unfortunately, and this happens to primarily men, but it's starting to bleed over to the women's side too. When your value is determined by how much money you make,
come on,
you're not very valuable at all.
That's good. That's good.
You repeat that. Repeat that.
That's good.
Yeah. If your worth and value is determined by how much money you make, then you're not very valuable at all. We are whole beings, mind, body, and soul. So what? I can take care of you. I can, I make X amount of money and I can pay all of the bills, but I treat you beneath me because of that, for that reason.
Right.
I don't know how to talk to your spirit. I don't know how to take guard, honor your emotions and be whole as a person. That money means nothing.
Right. That's good. What do you say to the woman, and that goes into this question, that is holding on to a mate because of his potential, but he's abusing her, whether it's mental or physical?
Dancing in the dark.
I would say anything that you find abusive, you should probably leave alone.
Right.
Now, let's talk about this abuse thing for a minute, because, there's times where a person's presence alone, without them actually saying anything, can intimidate another person.
Come on, that's good.
Because I see something in you. I see your greatness, but I haven't identified my own.
Right.
So anything that I see you doing, now it's almost like we're competing against each other.
Right, that's good.
Oh man, he's outgoing, so now I need to try to do this. So now I'm overcompensating, I'm overdoing things. And because I'm uncertain about who I am, and I'm trying to fill this role.
Turn the volume down, I'm sorry. They say the music is distracting them, so if you look on the side button, it'll cut off.
I did.
Yeah, and so because I'm trying to fill this role without actually having the opportunity to know who I am as a person, this person is noticing all the mistakes that I'm making.
Right.
They see that you are trying, but at the same time, you're doing it wrong. It doesn't matter, that you're trying to cook. If you're burning up the food, I got to tell you that you're burning up the food.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I appreciate your effort.
Right.
Doesn't mean that I appreciate your effort.
Right.
But maybe cooking just ain't for you.
Right.
You understand?
We gotta eat out here.
Right. So
and I like that. That's good.
Yeah,
that's good because, and I'm gonna use my son and my daughter-in-law for example, because I think they're a prime example of everything that you guys kind of just talked about real quick, and hopefully this will encourage somebody else. Two young people find each other. One person got some issues, the other person got their own issues, but together they make each other great. She's about to finish school to be a RN next year because her husband pushed her,
Right.
and helped her. My daughter-in-law cannot cook. My son does not mind coming home from work cooking because he can cook.
Right.
But she's an excellent cleaner in the house. They have learned how to coexist and use each other's strengths to benefit them to build the team, because somebody wrote teamwork, and everything that you guys were saying was about teamwork. I mean, everything that I heard come out of your mouth was about team. So that lets me know that a man is not looking for a person to sit the bench. He's looking for somebody to get on the field and to plow with him.
That's good. That's
Absolutely.
good. With that being said, I'm going to give Mr. Sweet a couple closing words and let him close out with whatever it is that he would like to say, Miles.
Okay.
And then I'll come in and piggyback off of him, and we'll close the show. But we'll be back another episode. Believe that.
All right.
Soon.
So, just basically, you know, I wanted to highlight some things about what she just spoke about. So you take, when you have individual entities, you talk about that teamwork or partnerships, if you will.
Right.
You know, you look at two individual companies. So when, let's say if you have a large cell phone, we'll use T-Mobile. When they bought Metro PCS, there were some things that Metro PCS couldn't bring on to T-Mobile because it wasn't the standard that T-Mobile provided.
Right.
So they raised the level of Metro PCS to their standard.
Right.
But in saying that, T-Mobile didn't get rid of everything that Metro PCS had to offer.
Right.
They kept some of that.
Yes.
So you have to understand that when a relationship is almost like developing a company, you have two individual entities that are partnering now to achieve higher grounds, to cover larger areas, larger grounds, or whatever it is that you want to say.
Right.
The thing is those companies have to do whatever is necessary to help that company grow.
That's good.
So what happens is if you are going to be a part of a relationship, being open-minded, trying to learn as much as possible about your mate is paramount. So that means active listening, not defensive listening.
Right. Come on, that's good.
I like
That
that.
means
That's
being
good.
understanding, compassionate. That means remembering some of the things that they've endured over their life. And I mean, that person still has an obligation for healing and things like that.
Right.
But if you're going to be successful in a relationship, then you have to be open with the communication, and both people have to be willing to grow and accept, you know, the perceived flaws of the other person.
That's good.
Otherwise, yeah, you stop before you get started.
I like that he said, and accept the perceived flaws of the other individual, because we come with flaws. We all do. And so sometimes we may not even identify our flaws until that other person allows us to see ourselves by acknowledging, or not by acknowledging, but by them pointing it out to us. We may not see that there are some things that we continuously do over and over again because we've become prone to it. Mind you, I've been single for, a long time. So certain things, when getting into a relationship, certain things I would not be able to identify until that mate tells me, you know what, I think you've gotten too comfortable with doing this, because being a single mom and being a single woman for almost 6 years, that has been a major part in being able to push people away. So sometimes even for the single women, we get caught up in pushing people away because we don't want them to break the barriers down where we've been hurt before. We don't really want them to hurt us, but they may not even be coming in with intentions to hurt us. It may be that they're coming in to love us, but because we feel like we've never allowed someone to be that close in the amount of time that it's been, then we kind of push them away unknowingly. And so when you begin to find out those things, you got to kind of fine tune that and then start allowing it to work. With that being said, we are going to come back for another episode. It may not be soon. We'll find out the date. But I want you ladies to think about some of those answers to some of those questions that were asked, and actually think on those things, because that is so, it's needed. It's needed for us to actually grow with someone else. It's needed that we understand who we are before getting into these relationships and thinking that a man should make us whole, because he should never make us whole. We should already be made whole. And then when we come together, we're able to be two whole entities that come together and grow together. And so with that being said, now we get to go back in that room and start checking off our insecurities, like SWOT. I don't know if you ever heard of the SWOT analysis, but it's strengths, your weaknesses, all of those different things that you are battling with. You got to start back looking at those things, because it plays a major role in where you're going. It plays a major role in where you and your relationship is going. Even your home, your household, your children, your family, all of that plays a key part in where you're going. And so listening to a male's perspective today, that actually helps each and every one of us to grow in a certain way, and now understand how to take back some of the words that we probably spoken over his life, even spoken negatively, because we're moving off of emotions, because women, we can be emotional beings. So we got to be careful to be slow to speak and quick to listen. And I found that in myself many times, that I have been quick to speak and slow to listen. So, and I remember he said something about being defensive. I've also caught myself being defensive when it comes to listening to someone. I'll hurry up and reply back, not really allowing that thing to download before responding. So we gotta really acknowledge that before we actually lose a great person. So with that being said, I love on you all, and I'm gonna let Mr. Curtis pray us out.
Before you pray us out, sir, but before you do that, I would love for you, for those that came in later, for you to announce Heaves Drop.
Oh, okay, yeah, yes. Sure. Tomorrow night, I am a part of a all-male discussion panel about love and relationships. A very good friend of mine hosts the show. It's called Heaves Drop. It's going to be over in Pembroke Pines. I can, you know what? Check Krystal's page in about 10 minutes. I'll send a flyer to her, and she can tag some of you all that join the live. You may be interested. The show should start about 7:30. Tomorrow night is Venus versus Mars, so it's normally all males, but tomorrow we'll have a couple of professional ladies join the conversation with us. It's usually a great time. There's a Facebook page, Heaves Drop. You can check that out. There should be pictures and video clips of some of the previous shows. You can check that out to see if you're interested. We would love to see you out there.
All right, ladies, I'm going tomorrow, so I hope that you're getting ready, putting on your clothes, getting real nice to be there. It's going to be a couple of people talking, and this thing is going to get real deep. So be ready. You say you're ready now, and then you say you're waiting on that mate, but if you're not prepared mentally, spiritually, emotionally, you heard this man say we got to be made whole. And some of us, we don't want to be made whole. We only want you to see our point of view. No. It can't work that way. If two come together, they both got to agree. So with that being said, I'm going to close us out in prayer. Lord, Father God, I thank you right now. I thank you for every listening ear. I thank you for every man and woman that is upon this live, that the seeds that were sown tonight, God, that it be planted on good ground, and that it bring forth good fruit, oh Father, so that they be prepared mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, educationally, in every way to grow with their mate, oh Father. I thank you for those that are married, those that are single, those that are preparing to get married, or those that are getting ready or already engaged. I thank you right now that as you cover them, that they be ready, oh God, and that there be nothing missing, nothing lacking, and nothing broken in their life. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, and amen. God bless you all. I'll share that post. See you later.
And thank you guys for joining A Man's Perspective and a Woman's Reaction. We'll see you again on the Renewing the Mind show with yours truly, Pastor Krystal Jordan and Mr. Curtis Sweet, for this show again. Thank you.